Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Radja with student number 7310231045, and today I wanna explain about exposure in second language acquisition. So maybe for the first one, I will talk about the definition of exposure, of course. So from my understanding, exposure is the input or the language that the learners receive. Maybe, for example, when you listen to your teacher, watch a movie, or read a book in English, that is exposure. So, with that exposure, it's very difficult to learn a language because we need to experience the language many times. And maybe for the next is, in class exposure. So this is the first type of exposure. So it happens inside the classroom, and we call this in-class exposure. This includes listening to the teacher, doing speaking activities, or reading together. So the good thing is that it's structure and control, so the teacher can make sure we are learning step by step. And maybe for the next is out out of class exposure. So actually this is the second type of exposure, named out of class exposure. This is what happens outside the classroom. Maybe for example, when you listen to English songs, watch movies with subtitles, play online games in English, or chat with friends in English. This type of exposure is very natural, and it often feels more fun because it doesn't feel like studying. And maybe for the next is single exposure. So from my understanding, single exposure, it's like a type of exposure that when we only see or hear a new word or phrase once. Maybe for example, the first time you hear the word sustainable. Usually, if we only hear it once, we might forget it easily. And maybe for the next is multiple exposure. So the multiple exposure is like when we hear or see the same word many times in different places. Maybe for example is first you read sustainable in a book, then you hear it in a YouTube video, and later your teacher use it in class. Because you meet the word many times, it becomes easier to remember and use it yourself. Maybe for the next is teacher center exposure. So this is another important point from exposure, of course. So this means the teacher is the main source of language. Maybe for example, when the teacher explains grammar, give instructions, or corrects your mistakes, this type of exposure help us learn correct language, but sometimes it gives less chance for students to practice. And, and for the next is learner center exposure. So learner center exposure is like when students are more active. Sorry, let me repeat about this. Let me remember about this. Uh, uh, learner center exposures. Learner center exposure. Uh, Let me remember about this. Learner center exposure. If I'm not mistaken, is like when students are more active. Oh yeah. Let me repeat this. So learner center exposure. So this is when students are more active. Maybe for example is doing group discussions, role plays, or presentations. So in this case, learners get more practice, and practice makes the exposure more meaningful. And it also helps students become more confident. So I think that's all for my presentation about the exposure. maybe I will close my presentation. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.